Hello and welcome to the Coaching Crowd podcast with me, Jo Wheatley, and my friend and co-host Zoe Hawkins.
Hi, everybody. We're here this week to talk to you about growing your confidence as a coach. And the reason why is because I think it's really important to acknowledge that many coaches can feel uncertain, nervous, lack that self confidence when they are new to coaching or perhaps encountering deeper, more complex um, things that clients bring into the coaching space as they progress their coaching career. And I think there comes a time where we all, as coaches or people who are using coaching skills, just question, oh, am I doing this right? Could I be better? Like, I'm just not sure. And that can affect our confidence. So we just thought we'd bring a discussion today around how do you build your confidence as a coach? So there we
We see it on our coaching training programs where as soon as we say, right, it's time to practice, you're going to go into breakout room with a partner, you're going to be the coach practicing, and then you're going to get some feedback and you're going to swap roles and vice versa. You can see, the life drains out of people think, oh my goodness, I'm not ready for this, what if that, and obviously a totally natural reaction going into a space doing something for the first time. But even when you've been coaching, let's say you've got your coaching qualifications, so you've done your coaching practice hours with clients, and you're out there coaching people then that aren't on your program, or you're coaching them when you're charging them. Those can all be points where your confidence you can feel it. You can feel that the little insecurities that are there. And I think it's a natural part of the process. And in many ways, it's a sign that you really want to be good. You really
go.
want to be good at what you do. You really want to have a positive impact with your clients and to be able to give them value from the coaching that you're providing them. So first of all, of course, it's a normal thing. It's something that we all go through. And one of the things that really helped me was having Zoe. So like having somebody else who is a coach to be able to kind of talk through and say, I'm coaching this client. Um, this is what they've come with. This is, we're on session 4. We've done this so far. I'm thinking about doing this. This is what the client said. Am I missing anything? Or, what would you do in this situation can really help to um, give you a different perspective, but also maybe confirm, yeah, that sounds like it would be really useful. And they might also say, and what will you do if the client says this? Or what will you do if the client says that? And help to get that flexibility. And also sometimes to remind you, if what you do know, like, actually, it's okay because I don't need to know all of this stuff and it doesn't all have to be planned out. I have got skills and actually we can center back into our role as a coach around really creating that space for the client to where they feel that they can be open and honest and really kind of look into themselves. So first of all, I would say, like, who do you know as a coach that you can have conversations with about coaching quickly and easily? Because coaching supervision doesn't always come like when you need it, when you're having those little confidence dips.
Mm. I think there's recognizing there's confidence as a generic, and then there may be specific confidence questions. I remember when I was quite new to coaching, and I was coaching a particular cohort, if you like, of clients. And there was just one particular client I was always really nervous about coaching. And it was so strange because the sessions always used to go so well and I always used to really enjoy them. But for some reason, this client, I just felt really nervous about the sessions. I didn't about the others. And that was weird for me. Not because I lacked confidence. That's not weird. Like as you say, that's really normal. But what was it about this particular
Mm.
client that was leading me to feel confidence, a lack of confidence? And as you said there, yes, supervision isn't always at the time when you need it. And for those things, supervision is really helpful. And I remember going to supervision and kind of talking about this and being able to unpick, did this person remind me of anybody? Like, what was it that was going through my mind and my body at the time? And just being able to really explore that. And it was a really great learning moment that helped me to recognize that there will be times when the lack of confidence that I may be experiencing isn't actually about me. It's about something that is happening in the relationship or it's in the space, and I'm maybe picking up on some insecurity or something else, and how I might be able to harness that and use that for the sake of my client. So when you start to recognize, I think, that there is yours, there's a portion of something that is yours, and there is sometimes a portion of something that belongs to the system or the relationship or in some other place, that also helps to deepen your competence as a coach. And I think confidence and competence, they do go hand in hand. Like, being confident without competence is dangerous in coaching. And being competent without confidence can also be equally damaging to yourself or maybe to your client, where you hold back or you don't challenge as much, or you maybe don't share the insights that are coming up for you for fear of, I don't know, saying something wrong or looking stupid, whatever it might be. So I think as you're developing and thinking about how do you become more confident as a coach, it's also important to have your eyes on your competence as well and nurture that as much as you may nurture your confidence.
Yeah, I mean, these are similar things to the things that our clients bring, aren't they? Lots of clients come to coaching to work on confidence related issues like emotions based stuff. And it can be really helpful to do as you just suggested, which is to break it down. Like, you don't feel confident in what? And all of a sudden, it takes you away from, oh, I'm not confident as a coach, or I'm not confident coaching yet. And that being the narrative that you tell yourself and maybe others, into, well, I'm confident in these aspects of coaching, and these are my development areas. And that's normal and natural. That's actually really exciting that I've still got learning and growth in these spaces. And what it made me think of was, what were the things that I didn't feel confident in starting out? And one of the things is the contracts, like the paperwork. There's the coaching itself, the discovery or chemistry calls. Love those. Like, love having conversations with other people, love developing relationships. But then you've got the contract. Who do you go to? What's supposed to be in it? When are you going to give it? What if they don't sign it? All of that stuff that to me was like, oh, it's the bits around the edges that I don't really enjoy. But what I would say is it's really important. And actually, it's quite easy to get that sorted. So make it a priority. If you notice that you don't feel grounded, you don't feel settled around that, go and sort it out. You'll feel a million times better. It will enable you to be more present as a client. It'll be able you to, even like the way you attract clients in, you'll be giving off a different energy about your coaching practice. So that's just from my own experience around that.
Mm. I remember we were quite widely read, weren't we, when we first started out in coaching? We are now today still, but there was a point in time where we were reading so many coaching books. You go on holiday, the person next to you on the sunbed's got some fiction that looks really relaxing, and there's us with like a big coaching sort of textbook or something. And we really absorbed ourselves in coaching. I mean, we obsessed about it, didn't we? I mean, you can probably hear from this podcast, we do obsess about coaching. And that can be helpful, to help build your confidence, because the more you read, the more you start to take in, obviously, and build your skills, but more you start to see yourself in different people. And there may be one particular author that resonates more with you than others. I remember reading some books and thinking, wow, like, yes, this is how I coach, and others where I'm like, oh, that feels a little bit too static or too linear for me. And that's fine, because there are different flavors of coaching and there are different styles of coaching. And I think from that, what you learn is not to compare yourself purely to one other coach.
Mm.
So I remember doing my mentor coaching, and there was a small group. I think there was 4 of us, and there was one coach there who was very action focused. And I remember like watching this person coach and thinking, gosh, I don't drill down into actions all that much. Like, am I going to pass that part of my PCC assessment? Like, my actions bit is almost like oh yeah, and what you're going to do as a result of our conversation. Whereas this person was more like, what's your goal? Okay, great. What are you going to do about it? And what the supervisor shared with us, or what our mental coach shared with us, is there's ethics, there's method, and then there's style. And actually, if you are being an ethical coach and you aren't directing and you aren't guiding and you are enabling the client to do most of their thinking and talking, so much else is just style. And it's really important, I think, when you're developing your confidence as a coach, to question, like, what's my style? Because when you can stand confidently in your power as a coach, and ours is like deep rooted, emotions focused coaching, people aren't going to come to me for actions. They're going to come to me for the exploration and the insight and like quite a therapeutical experience. If somebody wants hold me to account, help me to build a plan, help me to deliver, I'm not that coach. And I think when you can own that space, it just helps you to be more confident. You stop comparing yourself to, to other coaches who may have a different style to you.
Yeah, and I think that goes back even to like, so if you're growing your confidence as a coach, so you may be in a HR role, manager, leadership role, you could be in an OD, could be an accountant, anywhere. But if you're somebody that already people naturally come to and you've got like coaching skills and you're thinking about wanting to take it to the next level, maybe this is a career pathway for me, or perhaps it's a little bit of almost not a retreat, but it's like it's an invigorating space to go and spend time and develop in this area, because actually the day job itself perhaps isn't as fulfilling as it used to be for you. Choosing a course that aligns to the essence of you and your natural coaching style, like where you would find yourself, is really, really important. So when I did my original coach training, I chose training specifically on coaching training that was by facilitators that really had an approach that aligned to the essence and the core of me. And I loved it. I really, really loved it. And I've been on other coaching trainings that I equally have loved in my life, but I've also been, on one or two where I just haven't felt that. And it can create a feeling of being de-skilled if you choose a course that isn't the right fit for you. So do your due diligence around whether it's your initial coach training or coach CPD training that you do, to make sure that, yes, you want to grow and be challenged, but if it really isn't aligned to, your values or your way of seeing coaching, it could have a negative impact on how you feel about your coaching. So I think there's some, little but very practical things you can do there.
Well, you're telling my story there, Joe, because I remember we trained roughly the same time, didn't we? I think I
Mhm.
started first, and I didn't choose wisely. I didn't do my research. I wanted to do a coaching course, and I got swept up in a sales pitch, and I ended up doing a course. And there were several times where I was in a room with like 200 other people, watching a PowerPoint presentation, and then it's like, right, have a quick practice, 5-minute practice with somebody next to you. And the course was fine. Like, it taught you about coaching, but it didn't teach me how to coach well. And I remember coming away from that, hearing about the experience that you were having, and just knowing, well, one, I felt insecure as a coach, but there was truth in that because I didn't have the depth of skills that I wanted to have to be able to coach well. Because, I have a value of quality, I have a value of depth, I have a value of high achievement or achievement. And the course that I did not get me to a point where I was fulfilling my values in what I would consider this kind of new profession, even though I was employed at the time and I was working as an internal coach. So that's where I ended up going off and doing lots of CPD programs. And that's how I managed to build my confidence, was through
Mm.
one, I was plugging a competence gap. So I was gaining further skills and further insight. But in doing so, I was practicing more and I was mixing with other people, and I was really getting the help of the facilitators of those programs who would really listen to my questions and give me feedback. So sometimes I think with confidence, you have to check in with what's real and what's not, because sometimes it's a story, it's an insecurity, and you if you're a coach, there's probably limiting beliefs there that you can work on, or maybe there's a values misalignment, or there's something that is welcoming in these emotions of confidence. So learning to listen to, how come I'm not feeling confident here, and yes, take the mindset piece and work on that, and check in with, okay, what's real? Because there may be some reality in the lack of confidence, that maybe you don't actually know how to handle certain things, or you'd like to be better at handling certain things, or you're recognizing and leaning into an insecurity because you want to be skilled in it. So it's not always a negative thing that you feel confident. I think it's that thing around you say with imposter syndrome, like if you flip it on its head, it's like you want to be the least experienced person in the room to be able to learn from everything. And I think confidence can be a message of like, great, it's time to learn. Let's go and like
Mm.
dig into this and find out like how I can get even better. Because it doesn't mean you're rubbish. It might just mean you're coming up against an edge and it's time to like step into that edge and go even further with it.
Mm. I think you can grow your confidence as a coach through coaching supervision, but I wouldn't say that as a blanket. I would kind of extend the conversation we are just having about, uh, choosing coaching training and finding a match for you, like with a supervisor that is a good fit for you and where you're at in your journey and how you're able to gain value from coaching supervision with the right match. It can absolutely build your confidence. And coaching supervision is about developing your competence. It's around developing your ethics. It's around your well-being. So it naturally does fit into those things. And if you don't find a supervisor who is a good match for you and your style, or knowing you, and if you don't know how to prepare for supervision, or you don't prepare for supervision, and you're not sure, you may not get the same development in your confidence as you might hope to get. So it is important to have conversations with several different coaching supervisors, I think, and to evaluate every so often, is this still useful for me? Is this growing my confidence and my competence? Or have we reached a point in our relationship where we've got to a bit of a plateau, and that might be okay for you? Or do you want to go and experiment with coaching supervision elsewhere? Do you need more of a mentoring relationship, than you do coaching supervision? Or do you need a bit of both? And that's another way that you can build your confidence, is having somebody that's there to mentor you, but also having somebody that's there taking that more of a coaching approach with you and coaching supervision. So it's a really important part of your support system as a
Mm.
coach, in many different ways, and make sure that you approach it with that level of importance. But it can be really daunting to start supervision, coaching supervision, and a lack of confidence can actually stop you from engaging with a coaching supervisor, because I've certainly felt daunted by the idea of coaching supervision, and I see it in people, on our that are training to be coaches, because initially just the word supervision can be a little bit scary for people. And when you're right at the start of your journey, and then you're going into a space with somebody else that has had all of this experience, and will have all of this knowledge, and you think, oh, they're going to be like, judging me, all of that stuff is likely to come up, which is why those kind of chemistry conversations, and being able to be honest with somebody like at that stage around those conversations, is going to really help you to work out, is this going to be a space that's going to really help me to grow my confidence and my competence.
It's such a great topic for supervision. That is, I felt really insecure coming to this session, or I was really concerned about whether you'd be judging me. A great
Mm,
supervisor is going to sit back and be like, oh, tell me more about that, and just
mm,
get to sort of explore it and unpick it together.
mm,
Really a great way to become more confident as a coach and to be a great coach is to practice it. And it's an obvious one, but sometimes you have to be patient with yourself. Yes, if you come out of a good coaching training, you are going to come out with some great coaching skills. When you've got your first clients, you're out there in the real world and you're doing it. Obviously, the more clients you have, the better you're going to get, particularly if you're engaging in supervision, engaging in reflective practice, having peer conversations, reading, going on CPD courses. Like, you are going to develop. And you know maybe you feel like, oh, that's all very well to say that, but you have to get clients to be able to practice. It's like, you don't. You can practice your coaching skills in so many different ways, that you can engage specifically with other coaches in triad work. There's plenty in our community, the coaching crowd. Like, come in there, say that you're really interested in setting up a triad for some coaching practice. It may be that you're able to, if you're in an employed role, like, just pay much more attention to the way that you engage in conversations and offering opportunities to people to try different coaching activities. Like, you don't have to have a steady stream of paying clients to get confident.
mm.
We happened to do quite a lot of associate coaching for a while, didn't we, Joe? And um, we would do hours and hours of coaching day in, day out at that time. And it really did help our
Mm.
confidence, you know, just practicing, hearing so many more people giving you feedback around what's working and what could be even better, and seeing the results that clients get, coaching them for short periods of time or coaching them for long periods of time, like really mixing up the way that you coach. So rather than getting into patterns where perhaps you will only coach for an hour at a time, try doing some laser focused coaching in a practice way. Try doing some longer sessions. Like the more you stretch and play with your coaching skills, I think the more confident you're able to be like, actually, no, I can do this. Like I can do it in 15 minutes, I can do it in 2 hours, I can do it in hour sessions, I can do it for 3 weeks, I can do it for 8 months. You know, it's a great way to be able to um, play, I think is probably the right word.
And feedback is obviously like one of the most important ways or avenues for being able to grow your confidence as a coach. And you'll receive some spontaneous feedback from clients. You know, that tends to come when they were like, that was amazing, or how did you know that? Or I love it when you do that because it helps me do this. And that's great. And also, think for yourself, like identify what is it that I'm lacking confidence in and what do I want to ask my client in order to help me to grow in this area. Like be really clear with yourself and invite that feedback with an open heart, an open mind. You don't have to accept it as factual. You want to collect feedback from a number of different clients to start to really be able to see what are the themes here, where, you know, which bits may be more accurate. What can I and do I want to do with this? What do you have permission to experiment with your clients to be able to grow in those areas? And on our CPD programs, I'm just thinking about the emotions coaching practitioner training that we've been running over the past few weeks. It's so lovely to hear that when people come out of the breakout group and they're sharing what their learning is as a coach, they're also able to share their learning and experiences as a coachee, and they're crediting the coaches for the particular aspects or things that they've done, whether it's in the chat or they're sharing that feedback in the group. And we can see as the facilitators of those spaces the impact that that has on the coach in the room. And I think CPD, as we've talked about, is a great space to be able to invite feedback, to be with peers who are also learning, who are also saying, hey, look, I've got lots to learn in this space. Like it's an area that I think is really important for coaching. I'm doing this for me, for my clients. And I'd really love your feedback on this or on this. And you're getting feedback from other coaches. That's so powerful because they have a more nuanced idea of, you know, what can, you know, like the core competencies of coaches.
Mm.
So if you're, and that's where we created our programs from, really, isn't it? Is people saying to us, I'd really like to develop in this area, or I'd really like to develop in that area. Can you develop something around this? That's how the group and team coaching came about. It's how the emotions coaching practitioner training came about. And of course, the neurodivergent inclusive coaching program. So if you want to join us on any of those programs, come and visit our website at igcompany.co.uk. And they absolutely will be part of a really useful way and enjoyable way to be able to grow and develop your confidence as a coach.